Is a new Killer Instinct game in the works? Some people are starting to think that. A developer tweeted out on December 8th, "A beloved Xbox IP game you have probably played in the last 4 years or so will get its bold second title in next gen. The successor is deep in development and I expect you will hear about it around 2020. Naturally, this gets people's speculation wheels turning and the rumor mill is in full swing. Let's take a look and see kind of what titles you could be possibly referring to. Some people are thinking it could be Sunset Overdrive, but it couldn't be that because Microsoft doesn't own the IP for Sunset Overdrive. That's actually Insomniac Games. I mean, what else is there? A second title. Technically, Killer Instinct on Xbox One is the third title in the Killer Instinct series, so it's not a second title, but it is if you're referring to the new Killer Instinct as the first one. It is more of a reboot, more after all. It's not a continuation. It's not Killer Instinct 3. It's basically a reboot of the whole canon, the story, the characters. That's why some of them look a little bit different than they did in their classic versions. I can see this definitely being a Killer Instinct title that he's referring to. And of course, fuel was added to the rumor fire by another Twitter user. He said, "Let's assume for a moment, just for a moment, that Killer Instinct 2 is in development. What are the things you would want to see improved from Killer Instinct 1? And Adam Icegreen tweeted out an emoji with an ear, like he's listening. Like let's listen for this thing. So I don't know. Take that for what it is. I don't know exactly if that is a confirmation that Killer Instinct 4 or 2 or whatever it's going to be called is in the works. And what the heck are they going to call it anyways? Killer Instinct 2, Killer Instinct 4, Killer Instinct Endgame, Killer Instinct Agonos' Revenge, Killer Instinct 2 Steps Closer to Flushing Out Ultra Tech, Killer Instinct Endless Combo Edition. Let's go ahead and write some comments below. What do you want to see in the next Killer Instinct title? It's pretty unanimous when it comes to some features that I think everybody are going to want. Whenever Killer Instinct 2 or 4 or whatever they end up calling this thing, whenever it eventually releases, I don't think it's going to do quite well if they launch the seasonal approach again. If they launch the game with only 6 characters and build the character base from there over the course of the next 2 to 3 years, that probably won't be as successful as it was the first time. I can see why they did it the first time, and it was kind of a smart move by Microsoft because they could simultaneously test the waters to see if people are interested in an exclusive fighting game for Xbox One, because I mean there's no point in investing a bunch of time and money developing Killer Instinct if the sales were low and the interest just wasn't there. So this gave Microsoft an opportunity to see if the demand was there, and if it was, it gave them the ability to kind of grow the player base and grow the Xbox user install base. It also gave the developers some time to have something ready by the time the Xbox One launched. Killer Instinct originally started out as an Xbox 360 title. It was in development, and at some point they switched it to the Xbox One, and there's no way they were going to come out with a full game with a full roster right at launch. It was still too early. So that's when they decided to come up with this seasonal approach. It would cost less money and make everything better for everybody. But I think what the new Killer Instinct would actually need to be fully successful is to be a complete game at launch. It's got to have all the modes, all the multiplayer, all the single player modes. It's got to be a complete package, have at least 20 characters right off the bat. So it's got to be a complete game right out of the gates. Of course, there's room for DLC, like you can have additional skins, cosmetic items like accessories, some additional fighters, stages, things like that later on. I'm totally fine with that. But I want to see a fully fleshed out Killer Instinct sequel with all the characters right out of the gates, or at least the vast majority of characters. I would also like to see a new engine, even though the Hex engine that Killer Instinct was built on is a fine engine. It runs great, it looks great, it's a great engine, but it lacks in some areas, like some lighting isn't quite as good as it would be in the Unreal Engine 4, or even to a degree Unity. I would also like to see a lot of customization options added. The first Killer Instinct for Xbox One did have a lot of customization options. You could add and remove different accessories for your character, which came in different colors. So you could pretty much customize the look of your character using the colors and the accessories, which was great. I loved it. It was phenomenal. What would make it even better is if there were more accessories and you could actually customize the color of the accessories, not just choose from the pre-selected ones like green, gold, or blue. They need a color selector to independently and individually select the color you want for every piece of armor or accessories you have, plus your character, to make your look truly unique. If you wanted to go into ranked with a blood red saber wolf, head to toe covered in armor, that would be awesome. Or if you want to make rainbow glacius with multiple colors all over them, that's cool too. You can do whatever you want. That would just really open up the door and make your online persona so much more unique, because you can literally be the only person in the world that looks exactly the way that you do in the game. So I would love to see that for sure. Multiplayer's got to be spectacular, of course. I don't even know what they're going to do to improve the combo system, because it's pretty much perfect as it is, in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. I can't even think of a way that they could improve it. I am all ears on that one. If you have any ideas about how they could possibly improve the combo system or the combo breaker system, let me know in the comments below, because I got nothing. I think it's perfect. I think it's pretty much a perfect game when it comes to the gameplay. If they did start off with 20 characters or so, then I would love to see as many of the original characters return as possible. Obviously, since there's 29 characters already in Killer Instinct, I don't think they would all be coming back, at least not right away. I would love to see them all return, for sure. But I don't know if my boy Aganos would make the cut, because he's not a really popular character and he's quite different from the rest of the cast. With the chunks and the armor system that he's got going on for him. So I would not be surprised if Aganos didn't make the initial roster of the next Killer Instinct. I'm totally understanding of that. I can totally understand why they wouldn't include him right off the bat. I would love to play as him again, or at least a variation of him, like one that has like trees instead of rocks, or just some sort of alternate version of him. I'd be all for it. But I'm not counting on it, and obviously this is all speculation at this point. We have no idea if Killer Instinct 2 or 4 is in development, but there are some really strong signs indicating that it will be coming. Another thing that kind of hurt the original Killer Instinct on Xbox One was the fact that it launched for Xbox One as an Xbox One exclusive. It cost $20 and you had 6 characters. So it's like it had so much going against it right out of the gates. And the Xbox One, for those that don't remember, launched at $500, which is $100 more expensive than the slightly more powerful PS4. So a lot of people who were Xbox fanatics pretty much jumped ship and abandoned the Xbox platform in favor of the PS4, much more appealing price point. And I stuck with Xbox because they had Killer Instinct. So this game is the reason why I stuck with Xbox. That's not a lie. The next Killer Instinct has to do more. It has to have a broader appeal. It has to launch with the next Xbox. It looks like that's what's going to happen. Is it's going to launch alongside the next Xbox console, whatever they call it. Scarlet, I think, is the code name for it. It's got to launch with that, but it simultaneously, in my opinion, should also be available for Windows 10 and Steam as well. So we get as many players on board as humanly possible. And please have cross-play enabled for all devices, so there's no gaps in the loop. Everybody can just jump in and start playing. And this touches on a broader spectrum of fighting games. Fighting games by themselves are kind of a niche genre. You either love fighting games or you just don't care about it at all. There's not really a lot of casual gamers that jump into fighting games, but I think having a corner on the fighting game market, the next generation, would really help Microsoft a lot. Obviously, this generation, most of the fighting games, when it comes to tournaments and things like that, are played on PS4, because PS4 is a slightly more powerful system at the base model, and there are more fighting game options available for it, plus Street Fighter V. That's like the juggernaut of the fighting game genre. So whatever console has Street Fighter as an exclusive is pretty much going to be the winner when it comes to fighting games. But I think if Microsoft put a little bit more effort into their fighting game library, not just Killer Instinct, that's a big one. If they can come out with a fully fledged, complete Killer Instinct game from the beginning, I think the sales performance would be quite surprising. Or maybe not, maybe that's why they're doing it. But I think they'll be happily pleased with the performance of this game, both commercially and critically. And with that being said, let's explore that a little bit. What if Microsoft actually put in some more time and money into acquiring or developing new fighting games? Because it's kind of an untapped potential for Microsoft. They've never been known to invest any kind of time and money into the fighting game genre, period. It's always like Call of Duty and Halo, Gears of War, and Forza. But what if they actually did their best to bring fighting game players back to the Xbox platform. Not just Killer Instinct, but what about Primal Rage? What if they seeked out and tried to purchase the Primal Rage IP and develop that internally? Or hand it off to a second-party developer or something like that? That would be awesome, to see the resurgence of Killer Instinct and Primal Rage. It's like the 90s all over again. That'd be awesome. Or what about reaching out to Sega to get Eternal Champions made for an Xbox exclusive? So, I mean, the possibilities are endless here, but I'm just kind of rambling on. I just wanted to touch on this Killer Instinct rumor mill and give my 2 cents in it. I think the game needs to launch on more platforms than just the new Xbox. It's got to be available to a broader audience, and it's got to launch with more characters and as a complete game. That's what it needs to succeed. I'm totally okay with DLC down the line, more characters, more cosmetics, all that jazz. I'm all for it. And thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.